Hello there folks, and how is it going? And welcome back to another video, and welcome to the Namib Desert. Hold on, got some dust on you there. The drive here was wonderful and way better than last time. It was only that last little jaunt of the journey that was pretty rough, but other than that it was pretty smooth sailing. It took about 6 hours to get here from our previous location, which was wonderful, as you would have seen from last week's video. Wow, look at this. We are miles away from the dunes. Obviously you can't see them here now at the minute, but they are out there, I promise you that. Aim of the game right now is to make some coffee. Hold on, wait. What's the name of the stuff you're brewing? Where are you?
It's over, it's brewed. I'm just pouring out the coffee.
What's it called though?
It's coffee. What is coffee, Neil?
Coffee is the fruit. Okay, well there you go. Look, quality content here, folks. That's what we're drinking. Anyways, we are making whatever that is inside. What's it called? Yes, but what's the name of it though?
Coffee?
Dude, what's the name of it?
Cascara. It just means case or shell. There you go, try it. It tastes like
Cascara. Hold on. It's almost fizzy or something.
Yeah. I think that's not normal.
It's warm, fizzy.
It's only warm because we don't have ice.
It's supposed to be
And
cold.
you're supposed to brew it overnight.
Oh, well, there you go. It still tastes good though.
Oh,
It still
it's
tastes
delicious.
good.
It tastes like iced tea. Raisin iced tea.
Raisin iced tea. There you go, folks. So, aim of the game is to chill with our raisin iced tea for like the next 5 minutes, and then we are gathering the troops to head into the sand dunes, and I will make sure we get there. And but let's gather ourselves and let's hit the road and have an absolutely wonderful time here. We are here for 2 nights, and it is going to be glorious because this area is really special. So let's pack up and get going. So folks, we are having an absolutely wonderful time.
So folks.
So folks,
Look
look at this view behind. It is really wonderful. We were discussing the merits of polarization. You really kind of do need one here if you have one, of course, because it really does help kind of bring out that vibrance in the beautiful sand dunes. But we are catching some absolutely glorious light at the moment, and I have taken some wonderful photographs. They kind of paint themselves really here, to be honest with you, but it is absolutely wonderful. So as you can see, we're all lined up here. What dune is this?
39 and a turd.
39 and a third, he says. Way, but there are some clouds. Oh, and some dust out there getting blown up. It's quite windy here this time, but there are clouds above the sand dunes, and we are praying to the landscape photography gods that when the sun does go, like after it goes, that those clouds will catch, which would be magnificent, because it's quite rare to catch a bit of colour in the sky here, because it's usually quite bluebird, but nonetheless it's gorgeous. Very kind of like quintessential sunset here, but really wonderful. Anyways, I am going to take this photograph here, and if it works out to be any good, I am going to pop it up on the screen and walk you through a classic ASMR photography lifestyle. Let's go. Welcome friends to the ASMR photography studio, and welcome to this absolutely beautiful location here in the Namib Desert. This dune is probably one of the most photographed dunes along this entire stretch of road, and for good reason, because it is a wonderful photographic subject. It offers such a beautiful balance and contrasts, shapes, abstract kind of vibes, It's just so beautiful to see. Now, as you may have seen from the video, we are a fair bit back from this sand dune, so you do need to punch in quite a fair bit in order to kind of capture it in all its glory and wonder. But this first image we're looking at now is a bit of a wider shot because I wanted to include some of that cloud that's in the sky, which I really do feel like helps balance the overall scene. This next image is probably a bit more familiar to you in relation to, you know, seeing images from this beautiful place. Now, I will have to point out as well that I did take a bit of liberty and I did remove the second tree. There are usually 2 trees at the base of this particular sand dune, and I removed the one on the right. Just for me, I felt better with the one tree in the frame. It just adds to that nice balance and symmetry. That beautiful tree then acting as an anchor to the entire frame. So for me, I don't mind removing distractions, as we all do in our photography. For me, I felt like that second tree was just a bit of a distraction, and it's a bit of an uglier tree, really, to be honest, so it doesn't lend itself too well. For this last image here in this particular set, this is just taken from a viewpoint that's on the road. And it is a wonderful leading line using the road that leads us out into these beautiful mountains throughout this Namib National Park. And it's just a wonderful kind of stop to give people a grand overview of the area that they will be exploring for the 2 days or however long you are staying there. It's a wonderful place, and I'm super delighted with how all of these images turned out. And the light we captured on these sand dunes was just so magic, and really helps to emphasize that beautiful contrast of light and dark. A beautiful start to this wonderful trip. We have made it to Deadvlei. The walk here is it's sandy and you gotta go up and down, but it's really good. It's very windy this morning, but it's really beautiful, and we're kind of on our way now to get that kind of classic shot, you know, because of the delay with the car getting stuck, well, with Brendan getting stuck in the sand. We have to kind of push ourselves a little bit, but we're here now, and as you can see, it is absolutely magic. It's a beautiful scene, and please come and visit if you ever get the chance, because it is gorgeous. And but everybody is here just kind of scattering a bit. We've got a bit of time before the sun peaks up over the Big Daddy here, which is this big sand dune right here, and then it's going to cast that gorgeous light that we're ultimately here to try and photograph. So let's set up and take some shots. So folks, what an absolutely gorgeous morning we have here. It is a beautiful place, but the battery on this is going to die, and I left all the batteries back in the lodge, so I have to be super quick. I'm just helping Courtney here take a picture with herself in her hat. It's a very kind of girly and hat friendly, this place, but it is gorgeous. Everybody's now scattered around and taking pictures and having a wonderful time. But I'm going to pop up a few pictures for you now, so if any of them work out to be any good, I'm going to walk you through them classic ASMR photography lab style. Let's go have a look. So while there are compositions for days here in Deadvlei, this particular image that we're looking at now, again, like the sand dune at the beginning, this is a very quintessential kind of image that you are probably very familiar with seeing when Googling Deadvlei or the Namib Desert and things like that. And again, it is just so beautiful. So I fully understand why people are drawn to this particular composition time and time again, because it is absolutely magic. And when the sun does peak up over Big Daddy, it just casts this gorgeous glow as it rolls down the hill, and it really helps to emphasize that separation between the closer sand dune that's behind the trees and then of course that colossal beast in the back. One thing you'll notice in the top left of the frame, we did have some wind blowing the sand, and it did catch the light so beautifully. So as we move on to this frame, I just zoomed in as far as I could just to capture that, and for me, I absolutely love this image. It's like the surface of the sun really really does kind of help emphasize that overall story to the previous image, and I love that about these two side by side. Now for these next couple of images, after you capture, you know, the images that you ultimately kind of came here for, the kind of classic images, this whole area, like I mentioned, has just compositions all over the place. I was actually rolling around on the ground photographing some of these beautiful petrified trees, but this last image for me I absolutely adore. It's so simple, so clean, and that beautiful contrast of light and shadow in the background really helps for this one singular petrified tree to pop off the screen, and I am delighted I was able to capture this. I'm delighted with all of them, of course, but this one particular one I'm super duper happy with. So it's always worth your while exploring your area, and of course if you need to get on the ground and roll around in some dust, then so be it, because it sometimes yields wonderful results. Okay, battery's really going to go on the camera here now, folks. I am just going to continue exploring. The sun has come up out from behind the dunes now, and it is really lighting up. We're getting these beautiful long shadows. So I'm going to take some more pictures, and I'm going to walk you through a few more now. This place is just marvelous. It's such a photographer's kind of dream location. It's wonderful, as you can clearly see. So I'm going to take some more photos, and then we'll have a look through some more now. So for these next few images, again, I was just ambling around trying to find separation. One of the things that you'll notice if you ever have the opportunity to visit Deadvlei is that it can tend to be a bit overwhelming at first. So trying your best to find and seek separation between the actual trees themselves really helps lend itself well to good compositions here in Deadvlei. And that's one thing that I certainly tried to do for this set of images. This first one, I wanted to take advantage of that beautiful long shadow that you can see on the ground, acting as a nice leading line into the frame. And one thing that's wonderful about this is that when the sun comes up over the sand dune, it actually bounces the light off of this white clay that's on the ground, and it really helps illuminate the underside of these branches. And it's such an awesome thing to see and to photograph. It's just so wonderful. So as we move through these images, I tried my best to take advantage of that as best I could. So I'm really happy with how these ones turned out. And of course then there's just this nice up close detail shot of the actual tree itself. Again, just helps tell a deeper story to the overall set of images. Super happy with all these. Well, we came out hunting oryx, but look what we have found instead. A beautiful dust storm blown across the base of these sand dunes, and oh man, is it absolutely fantastic. What a beautiful scene it is. Really gorgeous. I'm going to pop up a few pictures for you now if they've turned out well, but we shall hit the road and continue our search for the elusive oryx. So when I seen this dust blowing off to our right side, I could not help but pull the car over and jump out of the car with excitement, because it was absolutely magical. This first image I adore. Just seeing that hidden sand dune emerge from the dust. Oh wow, and the beautiful trees in the foreground is just so magical. I'm absolutely delighted with how this image turned out. And as we moved on, we were able to capture a bit more of this beautiful sand as it blew through, just adding this wonderful atmosphere and depth to the frames. I suppose it's like the fog version in a desert. This sand and dust that was blowing, it really adds this wonderful depth. Now this image I really like because you're able to see the heat waves in the trees, and it was because it was quite hot the few days we were there, like very hot, and I'm really delighted with how this one turned out. Again, I was just looking to find layers and try and find ways to use the brush and the trees themselves as interesting foreground elements. We did manage to actually capture an oryx wandering through the desert as well. It was quite sparse, I must say, the amount of oryx that we've seen, unfortunately, but we did manage to see this one guy ambling through the heat, and he looked roasting. But yeah, beautiful opportunity to photograph oryx in their natural landscape, and really helps kind of add a wildlife spin to this area, which is wonderful. Well, folks, wow, holy moly, this day has turned into such a fantastic day for photography. Didn't get to see any oryx. Don't know where they are. They're probably in today's dinner or in this afternoon's dinner. But what we did get was some of that wonderful haze that I mentioned earlier, and the sand kicking off the top of Dune 45 created such wonderful atmosphere over that tree. I should have took some video, but I was too excited. So what I'm going to do is I am going to pop up the photograph if it turned out to be any good, and I'm going to walk you through it. Classic ASMR photography lab style. We are here now. So you know when you're sitting or standing or whatever, looking at a scene, and you think to yourself, isn't this magnificent? And you are then lucky enough to have your camera in hand. This is one of those moments. I think all of us were in total awe at what we were seeing, and the photographs speak for themselves. Now, I kind of knew in the back of my mind when I was taking this image and the next one that we'll see in just a moment, they'll most likely be the images of the trip for me, and I kind of think that they may be. There's just something about them that is just magic. The atmosphere and the wind and the sand and the compositions and the scale of it all, it's just so beautiful. When I took the images into Photoshop to begin post-production, they came alive and they almost jumped out of the screen at me. It was an absolutely wonderful experience. Now, this next image, it's just a tighter shot of the tree. I actually shot this in the kind of crop mode that the camera has, just because I wanted a bit more reach. And oh man, it's I really love it. It's just the tiniest bit more kind of surreal because there's no other elements in the frame bar the tree, the dune, the wind and the sand, and I love that about this image. I'm actually not too sure which I prefer, so I will leave it to you to decide and tell me which you prefer, whether it's the wider shot or the tighter shot. Both I think could lend themselves well to be printed, and I may actually include one or the other in the print store, so look out for that for sure. I am ecstatic at the images. I absolutely love them. Well, I really hope that image turned out well and you all liked it. For me, I feel like it may be the image of the trip so far, but we have come to the end. Sun is setting pretty soon, and pretty much where those trees are in the background, if you can see them, is where the off-road section begins for Deadvlei. And we have stopped just before that to explore this marvelous region. There's loads of trees down here and wonderful dunes in the background. And it's just such a beautiful area. It's dense with stuff, so there's loads going on here. So we are going to have an amble around and we're going to take some photographs, so let's go. So as I mentioned, we continued on down the road after being in total awe of the beautiful scenes that we were just seeing. And we pulled over to this area, which is, like I mentioned, at the end of the road. And there are loads of photographic opportunities. But one of the things that really stood out to us all was this particular tree. And you'll see now over this image and the next two that I just basically used this tree as like the main subject matter in the frames. I love this first one. It's such a beautiful, soft, surreal vibe to it all, and for this next one I cropped it to quite a narrow crop, which I really think helps to emphasize that tree as the main subject matter, and again adds such beautiful depth to the overall frame. I really love this one. For the last image though, I think it might be my favorite out of the tree. Not tree, no pun intended, and that's the accent coming out of me. I love the balance in this frame. You got the tree in the bottom right, and then of course that gorgeous sand dune in the top left, and it just sweeps through the frame, and I really love that about this beautiful surreal kind of image. Delighted with how it turned out. Now for all three of them I did do, not excessive, but I did do a bit of tidying up. A lot of the areas that you may find here have like black bits of sand or rocks that protrude from the sand, and that's one thing that I am unashamedly happy to tidy up, because I don't mind getting rid of those distractions. It really helps focus and narrow down the compositions for me. So really delighted with how these three turned out. Well, this is wonderful here. Behind me I am playing around with some of these layers. I'm just trying to hone in on a bit more of a cleaner composition by moving down a little bit to try and not have any of the dead trees essentially peeking up over the sand dunes. But wow, this scene is absolutely magic. The whole area at this time is just pure gold. Really, really beautiful. So I'm going to continue shooting on, and if any of these pictures turn out to be any good, sure, I'll pop them up on the screen for you now. So beautiful. So these are as backlit gets. I really love this first image. You got that gorgeous fork kind of tree popping up out of the ground, and of course the beautiful layers and all that gorgeous negative space in the sky. I really find helps balance this overall composition, and the light was just perfect. It really helped to emphasize those layers in the background, and of course add super strong contrast to this main subject matter, which is of course this tree. Now for the next image, I just kind of went a bit further, and I was able to walk further and further away from this particular tree and place the ball pretty much on the top, so it looks like the letter I. It's just a fun image. I wasn't going too bananas, and just delighted with how the whole evening progressed and turned out. I really do love all of these pictures that I've taken so far, and these two as well really help to tell the overall story of this area. Super delighted with how they look.
I just don't think it'll fit my frame. Oh, go back to Neil. Catch this fly. Take this fly.
No.
Yes, he followed you.
I'm gonna pass him to somebody. Oh, he's there.
Yeah, he followed you. God, that son of a bitch.
Wow, what an end to a marvelous day. The sun is setting here behind us now, folks, so we have to really cruise. You kind of got to be out of here pretty sharpish, but the fun will continue tomorrow morning, so I'll see you there. Well, good morning, folks. This video is probably going to be pretty long considering how many days we're here. It's wonderful. This is our last day here, and we are here for the sunrise, and then we're pretty much going to pack up and then hit the road up to Swakopmund. But wow, what an absolutely gorgeous place to end your time here in Sossusvlei and the Namib Desert. It's just such a beautiful place. I remember when Orla and I visited here years ago, I was totally struck by the place, and then having the marvelous opportunity, of course, to come back a couple of years ago and now be here again. It's really beautiful. Like, it's absolutely gorgeous. Now, for my photograph this morning, what I want to try and achieve is, the sun is rising over here, as you can probably see, but there is a heavy bank of cloud. And when I was standing here last time, the thing that struck me the most was the beautiful layers of mountains and sand that are behind me here. So I am going to try and focus on that first and foremost. A few of the guys here have gone off a bit kind of more closer to the dunes. There's some ostriches out there they're going to try and photograph with the sand dunes. And then behind the van here, where you can probably see a couple of the folks, is affectionately known as the Dead Forest. So it's got all these beautiful trees that you can take advantage of as your foreground. Brendan and a few of the other group have gone further back. They've gone to Deadvlei, which was where we were yesterday's sunrise. They went back to shoot that place, and so the nice thing about having the two cars is we can split up and people can kind of pick and choose. But anyways, I'm going to go grab my stuff, and I am going to see if I can photograph some layers. So let's get set up and let's get shooting. Beautiful. Well, the sun has come out, which is great because it is illuminating this entire beautiful landscape. And I am now just trying to find, I was chatting away there, I wasn't looking for any kind of composition, so you gotta love a good chat. So I'm gonna wander in here now a bit and see if I can find something. Even this tree right here where we were standing is very nice. I'm stealing kind composition stealing now at the minute. So, but anyways, fun times are being had nonetheless, folks. It's really gorgeous here. The light on the sand dunes in the back is really, really magic, and even the sand dunes over here is absolutely wonderful too. So it's such a beautiful scene. It's so gorgeous. Maybe I won't take any pictures and just enjoy it. It's just so beautiful. And when the cars are gone, wow, it's so quiet, so quiet. But I'll try to take one picture. I'll try to take one picture of this lone tree here. Let's take a picture of this guy, and if that works out to be any good, I'll pop it up on the screen for you now. So like the images we seen earlier from Deadvlei, one of the things that always struck me about these locations is just capturing these lone trees and using them as foreground elements. And of course, when you were able to punch all the way into say 400 mils, which is what this image was taken at, you're able to really bring that background on top of the main subject matter, and it really helps to add this wonderful sense of scale and depth to the frames. And I really, really love how this particular image turned out. The glow from the sun on the sand in the background, oh wow, it was just pure magic. And again, just finding these lone trees really just helps add this beautiful anchor to the frame. Wow, I'm super duper delighted that I managed to stumble across this one lad and take its picture. Now the next image, I just got a bit low to the ground and I tried to use these tufts of grass as a leading line or as an anchor in the frame, which ultimately then takes us out to the trees in the background and the beautiful sand dunes, and of course the sunrise in the background. Super happy with how these turned out. Now these next few images were actually taken a few days later. I didn't do any kind of vlogging or talking to the camera when we arrived at Swakopmund. One of the locations that we do photograph as part of the tour is the beautiful pier that's in Swakopmund, and I would be remiss of me not to include them in the video just because I really like how they turned out. I did blend these images a little bit in terms of the waves and the wave placements, and overall the pier itself really is a wonderful subject matter to photograph. Now this last image of the day is again a location that we visit that I didn't do any kind of talking to the camera about. I knew I wanted to include the images, but it's just a wonderful shipwreck that's just north of Swakopmund. It's not technically in the Skeleton Coast National Park, but it's still a really wonderful photographic subject nonetheless, and really acts as a beautiful kind of juxtaposition between the movement you can capture in the water, this stagnant ship that's just marooned on the sandbank below. It's really, really wonderful photographic opportunity. And so overall, I'm really, really happy with how these images turned out throughout this entire video. It is a long video, so if you did make it this far, make sure to comment banana and let me know that you're still tuned in. So yeah, fun times. So the beautiful thing about a place like this, and one thing that I've always maintained and why I love photographing with other people, is seeing how other people see landscape and how they see their environment and what it is that catches their eye that they want to photograph. I absolutely love that, and I love having the opportunity to then talk about it. It's really, really fantastic. But anyway, I hope all my pictures have made this place enticing and have done it any kind of justice throughout the course of this video. The Namib Desert is an absolutely wonderful, wonderful place to visit. So please, if you ever have the opportunity, do visit, because it's really, really special. But for now, I am going to leave this video here, and hopefully it's not too long, and if you've made it this far, then fair play to you. But I'll leave it here. So we pack up, head to Swakopmund, and then begin our journey on after that. Wonderful, wonderful times to come, folks. It's such a beautiful place. But anyways, if you liked the video, please do give it a thumbs up, and if you fancy following along for more of this Namibian adventure, by all means hit that subscribe button, and I will see you on the next one. Take it easy, everybody. Cheers.